Listen to me. The biggest mistake you are making with your life goals right now is that you're talking about them more than you're working on them. You got the vision board, the quotes on your wall, the dream car is your wallpaper, but you ain't doing the work. You've romanticized the goal, but you've forgotten the grind. You keep saying one day, you keep waiting for motivation, you keep hoping for a perfect moment, but that day doesn't exist. Let me tell you something, the grind will never feel good. You will never feel ready. Winners don't wait for feelings. They act on faith. They act on discipline. They act on purpose. You said you want to be great. Then why are you sleeping 8 hours a night like you already made it? Why are you scrolling for hours like success is going to DM you? Success don't come to the dreamers. It comes to the doers. You've been wishing instead of working. You've been planning instead of producing. You've been inspired instead of being intentional. The biggest mistake you're making right now is thinking you have time. You don't. Life is moving. Opportunities are passing. And every day you waste, someone else is out there getting better, getting faster, getting smarter, while you're still saying tomorrow. You don't need another motivational video. You don't need another mentor. You don't need another plan. You need to make a decision. Wake up. Either you're committed or you're comfortable. Either you're hungry or you're average. Either you're chasing greatness or you're running from effort. You say you want it, but your grind doesn't prove it. You say it's your dream, but your calendar doesn't reflect it. Stop saying you're going to do it and start doing it like your life depends on it, because it does. The only thing separating you from your dream is your consistency, your willingness to keep showing up when it's boring, your ability to grind when nobody is clapping for you. Stop mistaking movement for progress. Stop mistaking talk for action. Stop mistaking busy for productive. You want the life you dreamed of? You've got to earn it every day, every rep, every second. No excuses, no shortcuts, no waiting for someday, because someday is now. Stop talking about your goals and start working on them. That's it. That's where it all begins. Most people don't fail because they don't have dreams. They fail because they never move from talk to traction. You've been telling everybody what you're going to do, posting about it, writing about it, visualizing it. But when it comes to actually doing it, you disappear. You've mistaken planning for progress and talking for transformation. Listen to me. You can't speak your way into success. You've got to sweat your way into it. Every time you tell somebody, I'm going to start next week, what you're really saying is, I don't believe in it enough to start today. Every time you say, I'm waiting for the right time, you're admitting that you're afraid to fail. You're scared to start because you want everything perfect before you move. Let me tell you something. There will never be a perfect time. Life is never going to line up neatly for you. The conditions will never be ideal. The stars won't align. You've got to move through the mess. You've got to grind through the uncertainty. The successful ones didn't wait until everything made sense. They moved while it was confusing. They worked while it was painful. They built while they were broke. See, the truth is, most people love talking about goals because it feels good. It gives you that temporary dopamine hit. When you say, I'm going to start my business, people clap for you. They like your post. They cheer you on. It feels like progress, but it's not. Talking creates the illusion of momentum without the pain of movement. You convince yourself you're doing something just because you're saying something. But saying you're going to run doesn't burn calories. Talking about success doesn't pay bills. Words without work are just noise. You keep telling everyone, this is my year. You've said that 5 years in a row. You've got a list of goals, but not one action plan. You've got dreams on paper, but dust on your effort. You've spent more time designing your vision board than you have developing your vision. And I'm telling you, that's why you're stuck, because goals without execution are hallucinations. You're living in fantasy land, not a battlefield. Success is not built on declarations. It's built on dedication. You've got to stop posting your dreams and start protecting them. Stop announcing and start advancing. Every second you spend telling the world what you'll do is a second stolen from actually doing it. The greats weren't loud. They were locked in. While others were talking, they were training. While others were flexing, they were focusing. While others were seeking validation, they were seeking mastery. I need you to understand this. Talking is easy because it costs nothing, but execution That'll cost you your comfort, your sleep, your excuses, your distractions. That's why so many people never start. They want the outcome, but not the outwork. They want to look like they're winning instead of doing what it takes to win. They want to be seen grinding more than they want to actually grind. But I'm here to tell you, your results will always expose your reality. You can't hide behind talk forever. Time reveals who's real and who's rehearsing. Let's get real. Every time you say, I'm going to do it, and you don't, you teach your brain that your words don't mean anything. You're training yourself to distrust your own promises. That's why you don't believe in yourself anymore. It's not that you're incapable, it's that you've broken too many commitments to yourself. You've let yourself down so many times that now your dream feels fake, not because it is, but because you never backed it with consistent effort. When was the last time you did something without telling anyone first? When was the last time you just moved in silence, kept your head down, and let your results make the noise? That's power. That's focus. That's how you rebuild belief. Through quiet execution, not loud declarations, because real work doesn't need witnesses. You say you want to change your life. Then stop talking about changing and start changing. Wake up earlier, stay up later, read more, learn more, practice harder. Take one small step every single day. You're waiting for a big moment, but success is built in the small, boring, repetitive habits that nobody sees. It's the early mornings, the late nights, the uncomfortable phone calls, the daily discipline. That's where it's built. That's where it's earned. Let me tell you something. Your goals don't care how motivated you feel. They respond only to movement. You can't talk your way into shape. You can't talk your way into wealth. You can't talk your way into mastery. You've got to move. You've got to build. You've got to show up when it's not fun, when it's not exciting, when nobody's cheering. That's what separates the dreamers from the doers. Every word you speak without backing it up becomes weight on your shoulders. You're carrying around promises you never kept, and they're slowing you down. Let go of the talk. Replace it with proof. People don't need to hear what you're going to do. They need to see it. Stop saying someday. Start saying today. Stop saying I'm trying. Start saying I'm doing. Look, I'm not saying don't dream. I'm saying dream, then move. I'm saying speak it, but then go sweat for it. Declare it, but then go die for it if you have to. That's the difference between people who make it and those who don't. Winners use their words as ignition. Losers use theirs as excuses. The moment you stop talking and start doing, the world starts to move for you. Think about every person you admire. They didn't talk their way into greatness. They built it. They bled for it. They stayed up when others slept. They failed publicly, got back up privately, and kept moving. Their results spoke louder than any speech. That's how legends are made. Not in conversation, but in commitment. You've got a gift. You've got potential, but it means nothing if you don't move. Potential that's not executed turns into regret. And regret doesn't show up when you're busy. It shows up when it's too late. It'll whisper to you, you could have been more. It'll remind you of all the times you said, I'm going to start tomorrow. Don't let that voice haunt you. Start now, act now, move now. Stop waiting for motivation and build momentum. You don't need inspiration. You need consistency. You don't need validation. You need accountability. You don't need more talk. You need more action. Because talk doesn't transform, action does. The biggest mistake you're making right now is that you've confused your mouth for your muscles. You think saying it makes it real. It doesn't. Doing it does. Your grind has to speak louder than your goals. Your results have to scream louder than your words. Nobody cares what you're going to do. They care what you've done. So go do it. Prove it. Earn it. Talk less. Move more. The world rewards execution, not explanation. And when you finally start working instead of talking, something powerful happens. You start to believe again. You start to trust yourself again. You start to feel momentum again. That's when everything changes, because success doesn't respond to noise. It responds to movement. So from this moment on, stop announcing, start advancing, stop telling the world what's coming and show them what arrived. Let your actions introduce you. Let your discipline define you. Let your results speak for you, because at the end of the day, it's not about what you said you would do. It's about what you did. You've fallen in love with the idea of success, not the process of it. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. You love what success looks like. The luxury, the respect, the applause, the lifestyle. But you hate what it feels like to earn it. You admire the top of the mountain, but you don't want to climb. You want the crown, but not the calluses. You want the outcome, but not the outrage, the setbacks, the sacrifice that success demands. You've romanticized success, made it a fantasy, when in reality it's nothing but pain wrapped in persistence. You see the winners shining, smiling, celebrating, and you say, I want that. But you didn't see the years they spent grinding when nobody cared. You didn't see the rejection, the loneliness, the nights they questioned if it was even worth it. You saw the result, not the repetition. You saw the celebration, not the commitment. And that's why you're stuck. Because you fell in love with the image of success, not the ingredients that make it. Listen to me. Success is not a movie montage. It's not a highlight reel. It's not motivation on repeat. It's the daily grind of doing what most people refuse to do, even when it's boring, painful, and invisible. You want to write a book, start a business, change your body, become something great. But the moment it stops being fun, you quit. The moment it doesn't feel inspirational anymore, you disappear because you thought success was supposed to feel good all the time. But that's not how this works. The process is ugly. The process is repetitive. The process is lonely. There will be days when you feel like nothing is working. There will be days when nobody believes in you. Not your friends, not your family, not even you. But that's the cost of greatness. You can't love success and hate struggle. You can't want growth and run from pain. The seed can't become a tree unless it's buried first. You got to go through the dirt before you see the daylight. The problem is too many people are addicted to the idea of success because it's easy to dream. Dreaming feels good. Thinking about your goals makes you feel like you're making progress. But dreaming without doing is just mental entertainment. You're watching a movie in your head where you're the hero, but when the lights come back on, you're still in the same place. You've tricked your mind into thinking imagination is execution, but it's not. Falling in love with success means you love being seen winning. Falling in love with the process means you love becoming better, even when nobody's watching. The process doesn't always give you validation. It gives you resistance. It doesn't give you applause. It gives you adversity. And most people don't want that. That's why you'll find a crowd at the starting line and only a few crossing the finish. The world celebrates the finishers, but it forgets that finishers are forged in frustration. They didn't get there because they love success. They got there because they love progress. They got addicted to improving, to learning, to failing forward. They fell in love with the grind, not the glory. That's what you need to do. You say you want to be successful, but you can't even handle discomfort. You say you want to be great, but the moment something doesn't go your way, you break down. You skip the gym because you're tired. You skip your work because you're uninspired. You skip your discipline because you're disappointed. That's not how greatness is built. Success doesn't care about your mood. It only responds to your movement. You've got to stop chasing the feeling of success and start embracing the fight of success. The feeling comes later. The feeling is the reward for those who didn't quit when it hurt. But you want the joy without the journey. You want the victory without the vulnerability. And that's why it never lasts, because anything earned without effort will eventually escape you. The process is where you build your power. The process teaches you who you really are. It humbles you, breaks you, then rebuilds you into something stronger. You can't skip it. You can't hack it. You can't buy it. You have to go through it. One painful, disciplined, deliberate step at a time. That's where you earn your confidence. That's where you earn your worth. Stop chasing results and start mastering routines. Everybody wants to win the championship, but few want to practice when nobody's in the stands. Everybody wants the six-pack, but few want to control what they eat. Everybody wants success, but few want to outwork their excuses. The process is where you prove if you really want it. You've been fooled into thinking that wanting it badly enough is enough. It's not. Passion fades. Motivation fades. What stays is discipline. What stays is consistency. When you fall in love with the process, you show up even when you don't feel like it. You show up tired, broken, doubting, and you still move forward, because it's not about feeling good. It's about getting better. And that's what separates the winners from the talkers. Talkers chase emotions. Winners chase execution. Talkers want to look successful. Winners want to become successful. Talkers want quick results. Winners want long-term growth. The process doesn't reward impatience. It rewards persistence. You've got to learn to love the lonely hours, the hard days, the silent seasons where nothing seems to work, because those moments are shaping you. Every failure is feedback. Every obstacle is instruction. Every struggle is a setup for strength. When you love the process, you stop taking losses personally. You start taking them professionally. You learn, you adjust, you get back up. Look around you. The people you admire didn't just show up and win. They showed up every day when it wasn't working, when they had every reason to quit. They didn't love the outcome at first. They fell in love with the work. They trusted the process long before the process paid them back. You've got to develop that same hunger. You've got to wake up excited to struggle, excited to improve, excited to grow. Because when you fall in love with the process, the results become inevitable. It might take months, years, decades, but it'll come. Because the process never cheats those who respect it. Stop saying you want success if you're not willing to suffer for it. Stop saying you want greatness if you're not ready for growing pains. Stop saying you're committed if you only show up when it's convenient. That's not commitment, that's comfort. And comfort is the graveyard of greatness. When you love the idea of success, you're chasing moments. When you love the process, you're building movements. You're building habits that make winning automatic. You're building character that can't be shaken by setbacks. You're building a version of yourself that doesn't quit when it hurts. The truth is, you can't love success until you love the struggle that creates it. You can't love winning until you love working. The grind is the gateway. The pain is the proof. The sacrifice is the signature of the great. Every single day, you're given a choice to chase comfort or to chase growth. Comfort will give you pleasure now and pain later. Growth will give you pain now and power later. The choice is yours. Fall in love with the process. The long, painful, often invisible process, because that's where you'll find out who you really are. That's where you'll separate yourself from everybody else. That's where the magic happens. Not in the idea, not in the dream, not in the wish, but in the work. You got to want the work more than the reward. You got to wake up and say, I may not be there yet, but I'm willing to pay the price, because success is not something you get. It's something you become. And you only become it when you fall completely, unapologetically, obsessively in love with the process. You will never feel ready. That's the biggest lie you've been telling yourself. You keep waiting for that perfect moment, that magical day when everything will align, when you'll finally feel confident, when the fear will vanish, when the timing will be just right. But listen to me, that moment will never come. The stars won't align. The fear won't disappear. The doubts won't fade. You will never feel ready, because readiness doesn't come before the action. It comes from the action. You're sitting there waiting for the right conditions, more money, more time, more support, more courage. But what you don't understand is that starting is what creates those things. You don't get confidence first. You build it through movement. You don't get clarity first. You discover it through experience. You don't get strength before the struggle. You find it inside the struggle. Readiness isn't a feeling, it's a decision. That's what separates the dreamers from the doers. The dreamers say, when I'm ready. The doers say, I'll start and I'll figure it out along the way. The people who wait for perfect conditions die waiting. The people who start scared are the ones who make history. Every success story you admire began with someone who had no idea what they were doing, but they moved anyway. They acted, they failed, they learned, and they grew. That's how readiness is born. The truth is, fear never leaves. Doubt never disappears. You just get stronger than both. You learn how to move even when your hands are shaking. You learn how to take that next step even when your voice is trembling. Because courage isn't the absence of fear, it's mastery over it. It's saying, I'm terrified, but I'm going anyway. You've been conditioned to believe that you have to feel ready before you move. But that's why you're stuck, because your feelings will always find an excuse to keep you safe. Your brain is wired for comfort, not courage. It's designed to protect you, not propel you. Whispers, wait until you're ready. But that voice is lying. Waiting won't make you ready. Working will. Every single time you act, even in fear, you prove to yourself that you're capable. And that's how momentum begins. Let me tell you something. Success is built on imperfect starts. Every expert you admire was once a beginner who looked foolish. Every professional was once an amateur who stumbled through their first steps. The difference is they didn't wait to feel qualified. They stepped into the unknown and became qualified through effort. You're not supposed to have it all figured out. You're supposed to figure it out while you're in motion. Readiness is a trap because it disguises itself as preparation. You think you're preparing when really you're procrastinating. You tell yourself, I'm getting ready, but deep down, you're just avoiding the discomfort of starting. You want to look perfect before you start, but perfection is a myth. It doesn't exist. Progress is messy. Growth is awkward. Change is uncomfortable. You can't look good and grow at the same time. Stop waiting for the fear to go away. Stop waiting for validation. Stop waiting for everything to make sense. It never will. The people who make moves aren't fearless. They just learn to stop negotiating with fear. They know that hesitation kills dreams faster than failure ever will. You can recover from failure. You can't recover from never starting. Think about all the opportunities you've lost because you told yourself, not yet. Think about all the dreams buried under your excuses. You said you were waiting for more time, but time is passing anyway. You said you were waiting for more confidence, but confidence comes from repetition, not reflection. You said you were waiting for the right environment, but the right environment is the one you create through consistent action. You will never feel ready, and that's okay, because readiness is overrated. You don't need to be ready. You need to be willing. Willing to take the risk, willing to fail, willing to learn, willing to be uncomfortable. That's the mindset that changes everything. The people who win aren't the ones who waited until they had all the answers. They're the ones who moved while everyone else was still thinking. Listen, fear will always whisper, what if you fail? But faith will whisper back, what if you fly? And you'll never find out unless you jump. The parachute doesn't open until you leap. The map doesn't appear until you start walking. The answers don't come until you start asking with your actions, not your words. Movement creates momentum, and momentum creates mastery. You think readiness comes from motivation, but motivation fades. It's unreliable. Some days you'll wake up inspired. Most days you won't. If you only act when you feel ready, you'll never act consistently. Winners move on discipline, not emotion. They show up when it's hard, when it's dull, when it's inconvenient. They don't wait for a mood. They create a mission. You say you're not ready to start the business, but the best entrepreneurs weren't ready either. They learned as they went. You say you're not ready to start that fitness journey, but nobody starts with a six-pack. They build it rep by rep, day by day. You say you're not ready to chase your dream, but no one is ready to be great. Greatness demands you to start before you're ready. You're trying to skip the season of struggle, but that's where your strength comes from. Every time you act before you feel ready, you grow. You build mental muscle. You train your brain to trust your actions, not your excuses. That's how confidence is built, not from thinking, but from doing. You can't think your way into readiness. You have to act your way into it. Let's be real. You'll never have enough time. You'll never have enough money. You'll never have the perfect plan, but you do have enough to start. And starting is everything. You can adjust as you go, but you can't steer a parked car. Momentum beats perfection every single time. Stop saying, I'm waiting for the right time. The right time is when you decide it's right. Stop saying, I'll start when I'm ready. You'll never feel ready, so start now. Start scared, start small, start uncertain. Just start, because the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Action cures fear, but hesitation feeds it. Every successful person you look up to had a first day. Their first video was awkward. Their first business failed. Their first attempt was embarrassing. But they didn't stop there. They didn't wait to get good. They got good because they didn't stop. The only difference between you and them is that they started anyway. You've got to make peace with imperfection. You've got to learn to take messy action. You've got to be okay with looking foolish for a while, because the people who laugh at you now will be asking for your advice later. The same people who doubt you today will respect you tomorrow. But only if you move today. You will never feel ready. And that's your freedom. You don't have to wait anymore. You don't need permission. You don't need everything figured out. You just need to take one bold step. The fear won't vanish, but your power will grow. Every single time you act despite fear, you weaken its hold on you. Every single time you step forward without knowing the outcome, you become stronger than your uncertainty. You're capable. You're prepared enough. You're more ready than you think. You've just been convincing yourself otherwise, because fear disguises itself as logic. But logic doesn't lead to growth. Faith does. Faith says, I may not know how this ends, but I know I can handle it. And that's the truth. You can handle it. You can learn. You can adapt. You can grow, but only if you start. You don't need perfect timing. You need permanent commitment. You don't need full confidence. You need small courage. You don't need a sign. You need a step. Take it, move, act. The magic doesn't happen before you start. It happens because you start. The readiness you've been waiting for will meet you on the path, not at the start line. So stop waiting to feel ready and just go. You say you've got goals. You say you've got dreams. You talk about success like it's your destiny, but deep down, you're not ready for what it actually takes. You want the results, but you're not prepared for the process. And that right there, that's the biggest difference between winners and wishers. You see, people love the idea of success, but they hate the grind that builds it. They crave the glory, but avoid the growth. They want to climb the mountain, but they're not ready to feel the burn in their legs. That's why most people stay stuck at the bottom, looking up at the few who decided to go through the pain and not around it. Because real success, real transformation, it doesn't come from dreaming about the destination. It comes from falling in love with the process, the pain, and the patience that shapes you along the way. You got to understand this. When you set a goal, the universe doesn't just hand it to you. It tests you. It pushes you. It asks you, do you really want this? And most people fail that test, not because they aren't talented, not because they aren't capable, but because they aren't consistent. They don't want to pay the price. They want comfort and achievement to live in the same house, but they can't. You've got to pick one. If you want to achieve greatness, you got to be willing to be uncomfortable, misunderstood, even doubted. You've got to be willing to keep showing up when no one claps, when no one notices, when no one believes. That's where the real work happens, behind the scenes, in the dark, when nobody's watching. Everybody wants to be successful until they see what success demands. You think it's about motivation? No, it's about discipline. Motivation fades. Discipline doesn't. Motivation gets you started, but discipline keeps you moving when it hurts, when it's boring, when it's inconvenient. That's why so many people start something and never finish. They want to feel like doing it. But let me tell you something. You don't need to feel like it to do it. Winners act regardless of emotion. They act out of purpose. When you have a goal, you can't afford to wait for the perfect moment, the right energy, or the right mood. You move because your purpose demands it. You move because every day you waste is another day stolen from your destiny. And here's the truth. Success is not about massive, dramatic effort once in a while. It's about small, consistent effort every single day. It's waking up early when you're tired. It's studying when you'd rather scroll. It's training when everyone else is resting. It's saying no to distractions so you can say yes to destiny. Every small action compounds. Every sacrifice adds up. Every minute invested multiplies. The question is, are you willing to stay consistent long enough for your breakthrough to happen? Because most people quit right before the miracle. They give up on the 99 swing, not realizing the 100 would have broken the rock. You've got to be obsessed with your growth. You've got to be hungry for the process. Don't you dare run from the pain. It's your teacher. Every obstacle you face is molding you into the person capable of handling what you're asking for. The goal isn't to get there fast. The goal is to get there ready. You might not understand it now, but every delay, every setback, every disappointment, it's building your endurance. It's teaching you patience, humility, resilience. It's preparing you to manage success, not just taste it. See, some people get a little success and lose their minds because they never develop the discipline to maintain it. That's why the process is more important than the result. It's what keeps you grounded when the blessings come. And let's be honest, most people sabotage their goals not because they're lazy, but because they lack clarity. You can't commit to something that's blurry. You can't grind for something you can't see. You've got to make your vision specific. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Feel it in your bones. And then align every part of your life with that vision. Your habits, your friends, your thoughts, your time. Because when your lifestyle doesn't match your goals lose their power. You can't talk like a champion, but live like a victim. You can't ask for success while feeding your distractions. You've got to build an environment that supports your grind. Stop waiting for the right time. There is no right time. There is only now. Every second you spend waiting is a second you could spend building. Stop overthinking. Stop doubting. Stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10. Just start. The process will teach you everything you need to know. You won't have all the answers at the beginning, but you'll learn by doing, failing, and adjusting. And one day you'll look back and realize that the process you once feared became the foundation of your greatness. Let me tell you something real. You're not tired because you're overworked. You're tired because you're unfulfilled. When you live below your potential, it drains you. When you procrastinate on your purpose, it weakens you. But when you move with purpose, when you give your all, when you show up every single day with passion and persistence, something changes inside you. You come alive. You start to attract opportunities that match your energy. You stop chasing validation because your growth itself becomes your reward. That's when success stops being a destination and becomes a lifestyle. So if you're serious about your goals, stop making excuses and start making adjustments. Stop waiting for motivation and start building momentum. Success doesn't belong to the talented. It belongs to the relentless, to those who show up even when it's hard, even when it's lonely, even when it doesn't make sense. You can't control how long it takes, but you can control how hard you work while you wait. And if you stay committed to the process, if you keep pushing when others quit, keep believing when others doubt, you will rise. Because the process always rewards the persistent. It's time to stop chasing the fantasy of success and start embracing the reality of discipline, the grind, the sacrifice, the repetition, the growth that no one sees. That's where champions are born. You can have every dream you want, but you've got to be willing to pay the full price. The process is the price. And if you're ready to pay it, there's nothing in this world that can stop you from becoming everything you were meant to be. You keep saying you want to change your life, but the truth is you're waiting for something outside of you to change first. You're waiting for the right moment, the right connection, the right opportunity, the right environment. You're waiting for a sign. But what if I told you the sign has already been given to you the moment you were born? What if I told you the power you're waiting for is already inside you? The reason most people never reach their goals isn't because they don't have potential. It's because they don't take ownership. They blame the system, the economy, their upbringing, their boss, their parents. They spend more time explaining why they can't win than doing what it takes to win. You can't be the author of your success story if you're too busy handing the pen to someone else. Taking responsibility is the first step toward power. The moment you stop blaming, you start building. You start realizing that no one is coming to save you. Not your friends, not your government, not your family. It's you. It's always been you. And when you embrace that truth, when you accept that your success or failure depends on your decisions, something shifts inside you. You stop waiting and start working. You stop making excuses and start making progress. You stop hoping life gets easier and start praying to get stronger. Because once you accept responsibility, you take back control. But here's the hard part. Responsibility doesn't feel good. It's uncomfortable. It means looking in the mirror and admitting it's on me. It means realizing that where you are right now is a reflection of your choices, your habits, your mindset, your effort. That's a tough pill to swallow. But that's where growth begins, because once you admit that your choices got you here, you realize your new choices can take you somewhere else. You stop being a victim and start being a creator. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what can I learn from this? That shift in mindset is the birth of transformation. Too many people think life owes them something. They think because they worked hard for a few months, they deserve success. Because they suffered, they deserve a break. But life doesn't give you what you deserve. It gives you what you demand through your actions. Responsibility means you stop waiting for fairness and start focusing on effort. You accept that setbacks are not signals to quit, but opportunities to grow. You take ownership of your energy, your time, your reactions. You understand that your attitude determines your altitude. You've got to own your mornings, your mindset, and your mission. If you wake up every day complaining, scrolling, comparing, don't expect greatness to meet you halfway. You can't plant seeds of negativity and expect a harvest of success. Responsibility means managing what you feed your mind, what you speak over your life, and who you surround yourself with. You can't be serious about your goals and still hang around people who drain your energy. You can't talk about winning but live around losers. You've got to protect your environment because it shapes your habits, and your habits shape your destiny. Let me tell you something. When you take ownership, you stop negotiating with your goals. You stop saying, I'll do it when I feel like it. You do it because it needs to be done. Responsibility kills excuses. It doesn't allow procrastination to sit at your table. It demands that you act, even when it's hard. When you truly accept responsibility, you stop expecting instant results. You understand that progress is invisible before it's undeniable. That's why people who take responsibility are unstoppable. They're not distracted by delays. They're driven by destiny. Some of you are praying for blessings, but avoiding responsibility. You're asking for a bigger platform, but you're not managing the small one you have. You're asking for financial freedom, but you're not managing the money you already make. You're asking for success, but you're not showing up with excellence where you are. If you can't handle the little, you won't handle the much. Responsibility means doing your best with what you've got every single day. It's not glamorous, but it's powerful, because consistency in the small things creates credibility for the big ones. Stop waiting for the perfect conditions. Take responsibility for creating them. The weather won't always be right. The people around you won't always believe. The timing won't always feel ideal. But winners don't wait for the stars to align. They move until they do. They don't pray for opportunities. They prepare for them. Responsibility means showing up even when you don't see results, because you trust that the process is working even when the progress is invisible. When you take full responsibility, you gain freedom. You stop living as a slave to circumstances and start living as a master of choices. You stop giving power to everything that happens around you and reclaim power over what happens within you. You can't control the storm, but you can control your sail. You can't decide how others treat you, but you can decide how you respond. That's what responsibility gives you. Control over your inner world. And when you master your inner world, your outer world starts to reflect it. Taking ownership means you don't wait for permission to grow. You don't wait for someone to tell you it's okay to start. You don't wait for validation. You start where you are with what you have and make it work. You learn, you adjust, you adapt. You stop saying, I can't because, and start saying, how can I? You stop reacting to problems and start anticipating solutions. You become proactive, not passive. And when you move like that, doors start to open, because the universe rewards responsibility. There will be times when taking responsibility hurts, when you fail, when you mess up, when you make bad calls. But guess what? You can't grow without those moments. Responsibility doesn't mean perfection. It means accountability. It means owning your mistakes, learning from them and coming back stronger. It means saying, yes, I failed, but I'm not a failure. Every time you take ownership, instead of making excuses, you strengthen your character. You earn the right to succeed. Let me tell you what happens. When you live with full ownership, you start to attract power. People respect you because you don't hide behind excuses. You become reliable, consistent, unstoppable. You build self-respect because you know you did the work. You stop fearing challenges because you trust your ability to respond. Responsibility turns pressure into purpose. It transforms adversity into advantage. It builds you into the kind of person success can't ignore. So if you really want to level up, stop asking for easier roads and start asking for stronger legs. Stop waiting for better conditions and start becoming a better person. Stop blaming and start building. Because at the end of the day, your life is your responsibility. Your dreams are your responsibility. Your legacy is your responsibility. No one's coming to rescue you. You've got to rescue yourself. The moment you accept that truth, you stop being ordinary and start becoming unstoppable. You stop existing and start living. And when you take full responsibility for your goals, your growth, and your grind, that's when everything starts to change. You keep talking about your goals like they're far away, like they belong to another version of you, another time, another place. You say things like, one day I'll do it, or when I have more money, when I have more time, when things calm down. But the truth is, one day is a lie we tell ourselves to make peace with procrastination. The biggest mistake people make with their goals is believing they have more time than they do. You don't have time to waste. Every minute you delay, every opportunity you ignore, every chance you don't take, it's all costing you your future. You keep saying someday, but you need to realize that someday isn't on the calendar. There's Monday, there's Tuesday, there's today, but there is no someday. You're waiting for perfect conditions that will never come. You think you need to have everything figured out before you start. You think you need the right plan, the right motivation, the right resources. But listen to me, perfection is just another form of procrastination. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be persistent. You don't need every step mapped out. You just need to take the first one. The people you admire, the ones who made it, they didn't wait until it was convenient. They didn't wait for clarity. They created it. They moved when they were scared. They acted when they were unsure. They built their confidence through action, not before it. You can't keep waiting for the stars to align before you start your journey. Life doesn't reward the person who waits. It rewards the person who works. Every time you hesitate, every time you second guess yourself, life moves on without you. Opportunities don't last forever. They expire. And while you're sitting there overthinking, someone else is taking that same opportunity and turning it into their breakthrough. You've got to understand, inaction kills more dreams than failure ever will. Failure teaches you. Failure strengthens you. But inaction, it drains your potential quietly until there's nothing left. The time you think you're waiting for will never come. There's always going to be chaos, uncertainty, fear. The best never had ideal circumstances. They just had unstoppable commitment. You've got to be willing to move while it's messy. You've got to be willing to build before you're ready. Because if you wait for everything to make sense, you'll spend your whole life standing still. And here's the thing. Time doesn't pause while you figure it out. Every day that passes is one less day you have to make it happen. You don't get to rewind. You don't get a do-over. All you've got is right now. Let me be real. Some of you are not tired, you're trapped. You're stuck in a cycle of hesitation. You wake up thinking about what you could do, but you go to bed knowing you didn't do it. You scroll through social media, watching other people live the life you want, not realizing that the only difference between you and them is action. You've got the same 24 hours, the same potential, the same opportunity to show up. The difference is they started when it was hard and you're still waiting for it to be easy. But there is no easy season for greatness. The grind is the gatekeeper of your goals, and you can't unlock it without effort. You've got to stop negotiating with your purpose. You've got to stop saying, I'll start next week or I'll try again later. Later is killing you. Later is where your dreams go to die. Every goal has a window. And if you don't move when that window is open, it closes. You've got to act when the fire is hot, when the idea is fresh, when the vision is clear. Because once that moment passes, motivation fades. You lose momentum and it becomes harder to start again. That's why so many people live their whole lives in cycles of almost starting, almost trying, almost achieving, but never finishing. You don't need to be ready. You need to be willing. Readiness is a lie. It never comes. Willingness is what changes lives. You've got to be willing to look foolish. You've got to be willing to fail in public. You've got to be willing to start small. That's how every champion begins. Nobody wakes up great. They grow into it. But you can't grow into something you never begin. You can't harvest what you never plant. You can't expect progress from procrastination. And every day you delay, your dream decays a little bit more. People say time heals all wounds, but time also kills all chances. The longer you wait, the more comfortable you get. Comfort is dangerous. It makes you believe you have control when you don't. It makes you think tomorrow will be easier, but it won't. Tomorrow will bring more distractions, more doubts, more excuses. If you can't start now, what makes you think you'll start then? The only thing that changes tomorrow is what you do today. Action is the bridge between wishing and winning. You need to realize something powerful. There's no perfect time, but there is power in timing. The moment you decide to start right now is the moment momentum begins to build. Every small action you take compound. Every step you take makes the next one easier. You don't climb the mountain in one leap. You take one step at a time. You don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to see the next step. That's how you move forward in life. By trusting that each small move is getting you closer to the top. You've got to start showing up for yourself like your dreams depend on it, because they do. Every single day, you've got to wake up and remind yourself, no one's coming to do this for me. You've got to become the kind of person who acts without permission, who moves without motivation, who executes without excuses. That's how you create momentum. That's how you build habits that outlast emotion. And I get it. You're scared. You're scared of failing, of wasting time, of being judged. But let me ask you something. Aren't you tired of wasting potential? Aren't you tired of wondering what could have been? The pain of regret will always be heavier than the pain of discipline. You can recover from failure, but you can't recover from never trying. When you look back 10 years from now, you won't remember the times you tried and failed. You'll remember the times you hesitated and missed your shot. If you want to succeed, you've got to move while others are waiting. You've got to act when others are hesitating. You've got to start when others are still talking about starting, because success loves speed. The faster you take action, the faster you learn. The faster you learn, the faster you grow. The faster you grow, the faster you reach your goals. Every second counts. Every moment matters. And if you want it bad enough, you'll stop talking and start doing. Your dream is not waiting for you. It's waiting on you. The world doesn't reward potential. It rewards performance. It doesn't celebrate intentions. It celebrates execution. So stop planning forever and start producing now. Stop overthinking and start moving. Don't let fear of imperfection rob you of progress, because the truth is you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. You can keep waiting for the right time, or you can make this the right time. You can keep talking about what you'll do someday, or you can decide that someday is today. The clock is ticking. The world is moving. And the question is, are you moving with it? Because the only thing standing between you and your goals isn't time. It's your hesitation. So stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for comfort. Stop waiting for the right moment. Start now, move now, grind now. Because if you keep waiting, the opportunity you're dreaming about might never come again. And when that moment is gone, you'll wish you had started when you still had the chance. You say you've got dreams, but let me ask you, who are you surrounding yourself with while chasing them? Because I don't care how talented, how driven, how ambitious you are. If you're surrounded by the wrong people, they'll drain your potential before it even begins to bloom. You can't become a lion running with sheep. You can't expect to grow when you're planted in the wrong soil. You become like the people you spend the most time with, whether you like it or not. Their energy rubs off on you. Their mindset infects yours, and their habits become your habits. So if you're hanging around people who settle, who complain, who make excuses, you're training yourself to do the same. You've got to look at your circle and ask yourself, do these people push me toward my goals, or do they pull me away from them? Because some of you are trying to run towards success with anchors tied to your ankles. You're trying to fly with people who are afraid of heights. You're trying to grow with people who are comfortable being stagnant. And then you wonder why it feels heavy, why it feels slow, why you're not moving forward. It's not that you're weak. It's that you're surrounded by the wrong energy. You can't reach your next level until you outgrow your old environment. Every champion you've ever admired, every entrepreneur, every athlete, every leader made one crucial decision. They became intentional about who they allowed in their circle. They understood that environment shapes effort. You can't keep surrounding yourself with people who drain your energy and expect to stay motivated. You can't keep listening to people who doubt your dream and expect to stay confident. You've got to protect your peace and your vision with the same intensity you protect your goals. Listen, loyalty is a beautiful thing, but not when it's toxic. Some of you are holding on to relationships that have already expired because you're afraid of being alone. You're keeping people in your life who've shown you repeatedly that they're not growing with you. But let me tell you something. The higher you climb, the smaller your circle will get. That's not arrogance, that's alignment. Not everyone is meant to go where you're going. Not everyone will understand the grind, the sacrifices, the hunger. Some people loved you for who you were, not who you're becoming. And if you try to drag them into your future, they'll only pull you back into your past. You've got to surround yourself with people who challenge you to rise, not stay the same. People who tell you the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. People who see potential in you, even when you can't see it yourself. People who clap for your success and not secretly compete with it. That's what real community looks like. Iron sharpening iron. You need people who speak life into your dreams, not fear. People who remind you of your purpose when you start to doubt. You don't need yes men. You need growth partners. And let's be real. Sometimes the wrong environment doesn't just mean people. Sometimes it's habits, distractions, routines, or even your surroundings. If your environment isn't feeding your focus, it's starving your potential. If you're waking up in chaos, spending your days distracted, and surrounding yourself with negativity, don't be surprised when your goals lose momentum. You can't expect clarity in a cluttered space. You can't expect progress in a place that encourages comfort. You've got to start designing an environment that matches your vision. That means changing what you watch, what you read, what you listen to. If you're constantly feeding your mind junk, gossip, negativity, fear, you're poisoning your motivation. Replace it with learning, inspiration, growth. Start spending time with people who are doing more than talking. They're executing. You'll be amazed how quickly your standards rise when your circle does. Here's the truth. Sometimes the biggest act of self-love is walking away from people who refuse to grow. You can love them, you can wish them well, but you can't let them block your destiny. Don't feel guilty for outgrowing people who had the chance to grow with you but chose not to. You're not better than them. You're just different now. You're operating on a higher frequency, and that's okay. Growth demands separation. You can't reach new levels holding on to old patterns. You've got to get around people who make you uncomfortable in the right way. People who force you to level up, who make you raise your standards, who inspire you to move with excellence. If you're the smartest person in your circle is too small. You should be surrounded by people who make you think bigger, dream bolder, and work harder. You should be having conversations about purpose, not people, about execution, not excuses. But let me be clear. Building the right circle doesn't happen by accident. It takes intention. You've got to seek out mentors, connect with achievers, invest in communities that challenge you. Stop saying, I don't know anyone like that. The internet has made access limitless. You can learn from books, podcasts, courses, masterminds. You can study success even if you're not surrounded by it yet. What matters is your willingness to expose yourself to better. Because exposure expands expectation. Once you see what's possible, you can't go back to mediocrity. You've got to protect your energy like it's currency, because it is. Every conversation, every friendship, every interaction is either an investment or withdrawal. Some people add to you, others drain you. You've got to learn to tell the difference. You can't afford to let people bankrupt your focus. You can't keep explaining your goals to people committed to misunderstanding them. You don't owe everyone access to your time, your mind, or your vision. Boundaries aren't walls. They're filters for peace. And let me tell you something powerful. The right people will accelerate your journey in ways you can't imagine. When you get around driven, disciplined, purpose-minded individuals, their energy becomes contagious. Their consistency rubs off on you. Their mindset becomes your new normal. Suddenly, things that once felt impossible start to feel achievable because you're surrounded by proof that it can be done. That's the power of the right environment. It elevates everything about you. But here's the flip side. If you stay around small-minded, fearful, lazy people, they'll talk you out of your greatness before you even start. They'll make you doubt your ability, question your worth, and settle for less. You've got to be strong enough to walk away from conversations that limit your vision. You've got to protect your dreams like they're sacred, because they are. Don't let people who've given up on their goals talk you out of yours. When you finally get your circle right, you'll notice something. It becomes easier to stay consistent, easier to stay motivated, easier to stay disciplined, because accountability replaces excuses. Inspiration replaces doubt. Growth replaces gossip. You start living on a higher standard, not because you have to, but because you want to. That's what community does. It multiplies your strength. So stop settling for circles that keep you small. Stop surrounding yourself with people who make mediocrity feel comfortable. If you want to fly, stop walking with those who refuse to spread their wings. You deserve to be around people who see your vision, speak your language, and match your energy, because your environment isn't just where you live, it's what you become. If you want to reach your goals, you've got to take responsibility for your circle. Evaluate it, prune it, redefine it. Don't be afraid to walk alone for a season. Sometimes solitude is where strength is built. And when you finally find your tribe, the people who push you, who support you, who believe in your greatness, you'll realize something. Success isn't just about reaching your goals. It's about who you become along the way. And the right people will make sure you become everything you're meant to be. You know what's killing most people's dreams? It's not failure. It's not the lack of talent. It's not even fear. It's the waiting for the right moment, the waiting for the perfect circumstances, the waiting until you have more time, more money, more support, more clarity. You keep telling yourself, once things calm down, I'll start. Once I finish this job, I'll begin. Once I have the right setup, I'll go all in. But I came here to tell you the truth. There will never be a perfect time. Life will never slow down and roll out a red carpet for your goals. The perfect moment you're waiting for, it doesn't exist. You're wasting time trying to find it instead of creating it. You see, I meet people every single day who have incredible dreams, powerful visions, people who could change their families, their communities, their lives. But when I ask them, why haven't you started? They say, I'm waiting for the right time. They don't even realize that while they're waiting, life is moving. The clock is ticking. The opportunities are passing. The world doesn't stop because you're not ready. The truth is, you'll never be fully ready. You'll never have all the answers. You'll never have the perfect setup. You have to start anyway. You have to move even when it's messy, even when it's unclear, even when it's uncomfortable, because the longer you wait, the more your dream fades. Some of you are watching your goals collect dust. You wrote them down years ago, back when you were full of fire, full of vision, full of belief. But now you've convinced yourself that someday is coming, that someday when the stars align, you'll finally make that move. Let me break it to you. Someday isn't coming. The people who win in life are the ones who take today and turn it into day one. The ones who say, I don't need perfect, I just need possible. The ones who understand that progress beats perfection every single time. I know why you wait. You wait because you're scared. Scared of making mistakes, scared of being judged, scared of failing. You want everything lined up before you take the leap. But let me ask you this. How are you going to learn to swim if you never get in the water? You can study all the techniques, watch all the videos, read all the books, but until you jump in, you'll never know what it takes. Success isn't born from perfect conditions. It's born from imperfect action repeated over and over again. You think those who made it had it all figured out before they started? No, they took a messy first step, then they learned, adjusted, failed, and grew. That's how champions are built, in motion, not in waiting. I remember when I was homeless, sleeping in abandoned buildings, no money, no degree, no plan, just a dream. You think that was the right time to chase something? You think that was the perfect setup? Absolutely not. But I had one thing. Faith to move anyway. And every step I took, no matter how small, no matter how rough, built momentum. That's the secret. You don't need the right time. You need momentum. Once you move, doors open. Once you act, things shift. Once you commit, the universe aligns. But it only happens after you move, not before. You're sitting there waiting for the fear to disappear before you start. But fear doesn't disappear. It transforms. The only way to kill fear is to face it. The only way to build confidence is to act through uncertainty. You can't think your way into confidence. You have to work your way into it. The right time will never come, but the right mindset can make any time the right time. That's the mindset of winners. They don't ask, when will it be easier? They say, how can I get stronger? Let me paint this for you. Imagine planting a tree. The best time to plant it was 20 years ago, but the second best time is right now. The same goes for your goals. You could have started years ago. Yes. You could have done more. Yes. But guess what? Regret doesn't grow anything. Action does. The more you wait, the more you lose time you'll never get back. The power of now is real. If you could just take that one step today, one small move, one small decision, you create momentum that tomorrow can build on. Some of you are overthinking your purpose to death. You're analyzing, over planning, over preparing. You've written 50 versions of the same idea, but haven't taken one step. You've turned your dreams into theories instead of realities. Listen, the dream doesn't live in your head. It lives in your actions. You can't manifest what you won't move for. You can't attract what you won't chase. Stop praying for opportunities and start preparing for them through action. When I say there's no perfect time, I mean even the people you look up to, the CEOs, the athletes, the speakers, none of them started under ideal conditions. They started broke. They started doubtful. They started nervous. The difference is they started. And because they started, they learned. Because they moved, they grew. And because they grew, they won. Don't envy their success. Emulate their movement. Don't admire their results. Imitate their grind. You have to be willing to look foolish for your future. You have to be okay with not having it all together. That's how you grow. You have to give yourself permission to be a beginner. Everyone wants to be great, but no one wants to start small. Everyone wants to win big, but no one wants to stumble. You can't skip the process. You can't hack growth. You can't outsmart time. You just have to start where you are with what you have and build from there. There's power in action. You don't need all the lights green to leave the driveway. You just need to move through the first one. Every small step you take reveals the next one. You'll never see the full picture until you walk the path. Stop trying to control every variable before you begin. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for perfect, because every day you wait is a day you'll wish you had started sooner. I want you to remember this. Life rewards the bold, the movers, the doers, the ones who step out before they feel ready. You'll never reach your potential living in pause mode. You can plan all you want, but execution beats planning every time. You can visualize success, but movement makes it real. You can dream about the life you want, but action builds it brick by brick. So right now, not tomorrow, not next week, right now, take the first step, make the call, write the draft, film the video, send the email, launch the project, just move, because in 10 years, you won't regret failing. You'll regret waiting. You'll regret the time you can't get back. There is no right time. Only right now. You've got one life, one shot. Don't waste it waiting for perfect. The clock is ticking and the world isn't going to slow down for you to catch up. Start messy, start scared, start uncertain, but for God's sake, start. The right moment isn't found, it's made. You know what I've realized after years of speaking, teaching, and watching people chase their dreams? Most people aren't failing because they don't have goals. They're failing because they're chasing goals that aren't even theirs. They're chasing what looks good on Instagram, what sounds good to their friends, what impresses their family, what society says is success. And then they wonder why they're exhausted, unfulfilled, and empty, even when they check all the boxes. You can't win at someone else's race. You can't find joy chasing someone else's vision. The biggest tragedy isn't failing to reach a goal. It's reaching a goal that never belonged to you in the first place. Every single day, people wake up and grind hard, hustling for things they don't even truly want. You're getting degrees because your parents told you it's the safe path. You're taking jobs because they look stable. You're buying cars, chasing houses, wearing brands, all to fit into a picture someone else painted for you. But deep down, you're not fulfilled. You're not excited to wake up. You're not on fire inside because your life is being fueled by expectation, not purpose. And you can't live a powerful life if your power comes from someone else's approval. I'm telling you, it's time to get honest with yourself. It's time to stop living on autopilot. Ask yourself, why do I want what I say I want? Is it because it's truly me? meaningful to you, or because you've been conditioned to think it's what you should want? Because if your why is built on external validation, then the moment people stop clapping, you'll stop moving, you'll stop grinding, you'll stop believing. That's why so many people start strong but quit halfway. Their drive wasn't built on conviction, it was built on comparison. Comparison will kill your passion faster than failure ever could. You scroll through social media and you see someone else making money, traveling, succeeding, and suddenly your own progress feels small. But you forget that you're not in their season. You're not running their race. You don't know what they sacrificed, what pain they've endured, or how long they've been grinding behind the scenes. You're judging your chapter 2 against someone else's chapter 20. You're so focused on catching up that you forget to look within. See, when you chase someone else's dream, you start running with their energy. You start living at their rhythm. And because it doesn't match who you are, you burn out. You lose clarity. You lose connection. You start doubting yourself, thinking maybe you're not good enough, when in truth, you're just off your path. You're out of alignment. The key to greatness isn't doing what everyone else is doing. It's discovering what you're called to do and giving that everything you've got. The world doesn't need more copies. It needs originals. It needs people who know themselves, who stand in their uniqueness, who chase goals that align with their soul. That's how impact is made. That's how legacies are built. Don't waste your energy mimicking someone else's formula, because what works for them might destroy you. What fuels them might drain you. You have to find your own frequency. You have to find the rhythm that belongs to your calling. Let me tell you something. The moment you start living your truth, you'll lose some people. You'll confuse some people. You'll disappoint some people, but you'll find yourself. And that's worth everything, because once you know who you are and what you stand for, you stop being tossed around by opinion. You stop bending to fit in. You stop running for applause. You start moving from alignment, and that's when your life starts flowing. That's when doors start opening that don't make sense. That's when you wake up with energy and peace, even if you're still in the struggle. You've got to take time to get quiet. In a world full of noise, notifications, trends, algorithms, you've got to sit still and listen to your own heart. Ask yourself, what actually fulfills me? Not what impresses others, not what makes me look good, but what makes me come alive. Because here's the truth. Success without fulfillment is the biggest form of failure. If you get everything you thought you wanted but still feel empty, you've climbed the wrong mountain. I know so many people who work themselves into exhaustion chasing paychecks, titles, and trophies, and then sit in silence at night wondering, why doesn't it feel like enough? It doesn't feel like enough because it's not your definition of success. It's someone else's. You're living on borrowed dreams. You're trying to fill your soul with someone else's purpose. And no matter how much you achieve, it'll never satisfy you because your heart wasn't built for that. It's time to redefine success. For some, success means owning a business. For others, it's raising strong kids. For someone else, it's creating art, serving people, teaching, healing, building. There's no one right version. Stop measuring your worth by someone else's scale. Stop feeling small because your dream looks different. You're not behind, you're authentic. And authenticity always wins in the long run. When you start walking your own path, you move differently. You're not rushing. You're not comparing. You're not desperate. You're focused. You're grounded. Because you know this journey belongs to you. That's power. That's peace. That's purpose. When your goals align with your soul, you don't need external motivation. You wake up hungry because the mission itself feeds you. You don't need people to push you. You're pulled by something bigger. And let me tell you something powerful. When you chase your true purpose, life meets you halfway. The right people show up. The right opportunities find you. Not because it's easy, but because the energy you put out becomes magnetic. When you move in truth, you attract truth. When you move in alignment, you attract alignment. But when you move in imitation, everything feels forced. You struggle to sustain it because it's not real. I've seen people with less talent outlast the gifted because their purpose was authentic. Passion beats potential when it's rooted in truth. You can fake it for a while, but eventually life exposes the fake. You can't outwork something that's not meant for you. But when it is meant for you, When it's yours, no one can take it. No one can outshine it. No one can stop it because you'll fight for it differently. You'll endure differently. You'll sacrifice differently. And listen, I get it. Finding your own goals isn't easy. It takes time, honesty, and courage, because when you strip away the layers of expectations and ego, sometimes you find dreams that scare you. Sometimes your true purpose is buried under pain, fear, or doubt. But you gotta dig. You've gotta peel back the noise and get real about what drives you. You've got to ask, if nobody was watching, if there were no likes, no applause, what would I still want to do? That's your purpose talking. So stop running from your truth. Stop dimming your light to fit into someone else's comfort zone. Stop pretending you're okay chasing goals that drain you. It's time to realign, because when you live in alignment, you don't need validation. Your peace becomes your proof. You don't need applause. Your fulfillment becomes your fuel. You won't need to prove yourself. Your purpose proves you. The biggest mistake you can make with your life goals is chasing ones that belong to someone else. The moment you own your dream, truly own it, your life shifts. You stop living for likes and start living for legacy. You stop surviving and start creating. You stop following and start leading. Because when you move with purpose, every step, every failure, every victory means something. It's not wasted. It's not empty. It's yours. You only get one shot at this life. Don't waste it building someone else's version of success. Don't waste it living a story that doesn't belong to you. You have a calling. You have a voice. You have a destiny that no one else can fulfill. The moment you embrace that, everything changes. You don't have to chase what trendy. You chase what's true. You don't have to prove your worth. You live it. You don't have to impress anyone. You impact them. You were not born to be a copy. You were born to be a creator. The world doesn't need another version of someone else. It needs the real you, the raw, flawed, passionate, powerful you. Stop chasing borrowed dreams and start walking boldly in your own, because when you finally align your goals with your soul, that's when you stop just existing and start living. You know what separates the people who talk about success from the ones who actually experience it? It's not luck. It's not talent. It's not who they know. It's something simple but powerful. They finish. They stay in the fight when everyone else quits. They keep showing up when it's not glamorous, when it's not easy, when nobody's cheering. They keep their promise to themselves. Most people don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they stop too soon. They stop when it gets hard. They stop when it gets uncomfortable. They stop because it's taking longer than they expected. But hear me, greatness doesn't come to those who start strong. It comes to those who finish strong. Every single dream you've ever had is testing you right now. It's testing how badly you want it. It's testing your discipline, your patience, your consistency. You say you want success, but can you keep going when it feels like you're getting nowhere? Can you keep believing when the world gives you no reason to? That's the real test. Everyone is motivated at the beginning. Everyone's excited when the plan is fresh, when the energy is high, when the vision feels close. But that middle part, the grind, the repetition, the waiting, that's where most people disappear. That's where your dream separates the talkers from the doers. I'm telling you right now, it's not the start that defines you, it's the stamina. Anybody can start a business, a diet, a degree, a goal, but few people have the strength to keep showing up after the excitement fades. That's what success demands. Consistency when nobody's watching. Doing the work when it's boring. Sacrificing when no one's clapping. Believing when it's easier to doubt. You want to know why most people never reach their goals? Because they expect progress to be exciting every day. They expect motivation to carry them. But motivation doesn't last. Discipline does. Discipline is the bridge between goals and achievement. It's the quiet work nobody sees. It's the decision to keep pushing when your mind says enough. It's the 4 a.m. alarm when you'd rather sleep. It's saying no to comfort so you can say yes to purpose. You can't just want it. You have to work for it day after day, long after the initial fire dies down. The truth is, the people you admire, the athletes, the entrepreneurs, the legends, they don't love the grind every single day, but they respect it. They show up for it because they understand that consistency compounds. Think about that. Every rep, every page, every call, every hour, it all builds up. You may not see results right away, but every little bit adds up to something powerful. It's like planting seeds. You can't see what's happening underground, but the roots are growing. The moment you stop watering, the moment you stop showing up, you kill the process before it has a chance to bloom. That's why the people who win are the ones who refuse to quit, even when they can't see progress. The road to your dreams is not straight. It's filled with setbacks, delays, rejection, and doubt. But every obstacle is asking you one question: how bad do you want it? Because if you want it bad enough, you'll keep fighting. You'll adjust, adapt, pivot, and push. You'll crawl if you have to. You'll rebuild from the ashes if you must. You'll get knocked down 9 times and stand up 10. That's what finishing looks like. Not perfect, not pretty, but persistent. You have to stop expecting success to come fast. It's not microwave, it's slow cook. It takes time to develop greatness. You want the body, the business, the dream, the freedom, but you don't want the process. You want the results of a decade's grind in a few weeks. You want the glory without the growth, but the process is the prize. The process is what shapes you into the kind of person who can handle the blessing when it arrives. Because if success comes before you're ready, it can destroy you. The grind is what prepares you. When you quit, you don't just give up on your dream. You give up on who you could have become. You rob yourself of the version of you that's on the other side of endurance. Every day you endure, you build strength, patience, and resilience. You become the kind of person who doesn't just dream big, but finishes strong. And let's be real. Sometimes finishing looks like barely holding on. Sometimes it's not glamorous. Sometimes it's tears, pain, and exhaustion. But that's part of the journey. Every champion has scars. Every success story has chapters of struggle. Don't let the pain fool you. It's not punishment, it's preparation. It's shaping you for something bigger. You can't skip the process and still expect the promise. You have to be able to do it tired. Do it frustrated. Do it scared. Because the ones who make it aren't the ones who have the easiest path. They're the ones who stay the longest. When everybody else quits, they keep showing up. When it doesn't make sense, they keep believing. That's what separates legends from the rest. And let me tell you, quitting doesn't make it easier. It doesn't bring peace. It brings regret. It brings what if. You think quitting ends the pain, but it only starts a different kind, the pain of wondering what could have happened if you just held on a little longer. That's the pain that keeps people up at night. You're closer than you think. The breakthrough is always right after the breakdown. The light is always right past the darkest point, but you'll never see it if you stop walking. You've got to finish what you start, because every unfinished thing in your life, every goal, every project, every dream weighs on your soul. It reminds you of what you gave up on. It eats away at your confidence. But when you finish, even if it's not perfect, you build momentum. You build pride. You build belief in yourself. You start to prove to yourself, I'm the kind of person who does what I say I'll do. And that belief, that's power. That's the fuel that turns small wins into massive victories. You've got to stop expecting others to hold you accountable. You've got to hold yourself accountable. No coach, no mentor, no friend can do that for you. You have to be the one who says, I'm not quitting this time. I'm not backing down. I'm not giving up on me. Because the truth is, nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to drag you across the finish line. You have to do that yourself. Let me tell you something powerful. Your reward is connected to your resistance. The greater the struggle, the greater the glory. Every time you push through pain, you're earning strength. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're building character. Every time you refuse to quit, you're stepping closer to destiny. That's how winners are made. They finish what they start. I've seen it over and over. The people who make it to the top aren't always the smartest, the fastest, or the most talented. They're the ones who won't quit. They're the ones who kept pushing long after everyone else went home. They're the ones who worked in silence, stayed in the fight, and refused to let time discourage them, because success doesn't belong to the lucky. It belongs to the relentless. Some of you need to make a decision right now that you're not going to stop until it's done. No more almost, no more one day, no more maybe next time. You've got to make up your mind that this time you finish. This time you see it through. This time you don't give up halfway. You've come too far to only come this far. You've sacrificed too much to walk away now. When you finish something, even something small, it builds emotional muscle. It builds trust with yourself. That trust becomes the foundation for everything else. Because once you know you can finish one thing, you start believing you can finish anything. That's how confidence is built, through completion, not through talking, not through planning, but through finishing. Listen, I know it's hard. I know there are days when it feels impossible, but remember why you started. Remember the fire you had at the beginning. Remember who you said you'd become. That version of you is still waiting on the other side of the finish line. Don't let them down. Don't let your dream die because of temporary fatigue. Don't let your legacy end because you got tired. Tired is temporary. Quitting is forever. The storm you're in right now, it's not there to destroy you. It's there to strengthen you. Every great story has a struggle. Every hero faces resistance, but they endure, they overcome, they rise. You are no different. You've got that same power in you. You've got that same fire. You've just got to stop giving up when it gets uncomfortable. You've got to keep swinging, even when your arms are heavy. You've got to keep believing, even when you can't see results, because one day it'll click. One day, all the nights you cried, all the mornings you struggled to get up, all the times you wanted to quit, they'll make sense. One day, the reward will match the pain, and you'll be grateful you didn't give up. You'll look back and realize every ounce of effort was worth it, because finishing doesn't just change your circumstances. It changes you. You'll walk differently. You'll talk differently. You'll think differently, because you'll know what you're capable of. You'll know that no matter how hard it gets, you can keep going. That's power. That's freedom. That's success. So stop stopping. Stop waiting for the right moment to try again. Stop making excuses about timing, support, or luck. You don't need perfect. You need persistence. You don't need motivation. You need commitment. Finish what you started. Show yourself you can do it. Because once you finish one thing, it'll give you the strength to finish the next and the next and the next. Every finish line you cross builds a legacy. Not because of the trophy, not because of the applause, but because of the person you became on the way there. The strength, the resilience, the character, that's the real reward. So don't give up. Don't stop short. Keep fighting, keep climbing, keep pushing, because you're closer than you think. The world doesn't remember those who almost made it. It remembers the ones who finished. So finish. Finish even if it's messy. Finish even if it's painful. Finish even if you have to crawl across that line, because the moment you finish, the moment you prove to yourself that you can endure, your entire life changes. You've got what it takes. You've had it all along. Now it's time to finish, because when you finally complete the mission, you'll realize that the journey wasn't about reaching the goal. It was about becoming the kind of person who never quits.